Hello again, squatties, and welcome to a new series. As always, I am D. This is going to be taking the place of Trials of the Spellslinger, keeping to the magic theme that I have for Saturdays, at least partially. You'll see what I mean at 3 o'clock U.S. Central Time, but this is one that I found mostly through other YouTubers that sounds rather interesting, and it actually is. I've played quite a bit of it already. This is Iratus, Lord of the Dead. A lot of people pointed out that this has a lot of influence from Darkest Dungeon. The devs have apparently admitted this, and I can see it. The difference is that instead of being heroes or anti-heroes, delving into the dungeon to try and undo somebody else's mistake, you play as the titular Iratus, or Iratus, I'm not sure exactly how to say his name, who is right here in the center. He is a necromancer who is trying to break his way out of a dungeon. Of course, there are people that try to get in the way. Now, I have a file here that's gone through 10 battles, but I'm going to start a new one. There's 3 difficulty levels, so you have to go through the tutorial first, and you have Cakewalk, which, game for beginners, enemies are weaker, fewer elites, increase starting resources, increase victory rewards, 1 starting artifact, increase vigor, recovery for minions out of battle. Vigor is health. And there's more pain, which is what I'm going to be playing this one on. Stronger enemies, more elites, average starting resources, fewer rewards, 2 starting artifacts, and average vigor recovery. Once you win in either Cakewalk or more pain, you get good always wins, which is overpowered enemies, constant elites. You have more starting resources and victory rewards. You get 3 artifacts, but your minions do not heal very quickly. And actually, you have to beat it on more pain. I just realized. I just saw. So we're going to start with more pain. Then we have Iratus here, burning something behind him, and these are his legions. One of the cool things about this is that you don't have to wait, like in Darkest Dungeon. You have to wait until somebody that you like shows up to recruit them. Here, I've got a starting party of a Dark Knight, good frontliner, can do some serious damage, but he's a little bit. Let's see. His initiative is not the best. I have a zombie, slightly worse initiative, but he's mostly a long-range character, so I'm actually gonna move him to position 3. But he can also do a lot of good AoE. We have the skeleton, kind of your bog standard troop. Good and quick. Surprisingly good at defense as well. And then the Bride of Iratus, who is a rather good ranged unit. Very quick, very high damage, very good at crits as well. And then there's also the other 2 units that I could build. There's a Wraith. These are good at the special type of damage. They also have 2 block and 2 ward, which I'll explain in just a second. And then there's also the Banshee. Again, pretty quick. Also very good with the dread mechanic, because again, you're a necromancer, you're not a good guy. Just like in Darkest Dungeon, there is a sanity system. But considering these are undead under your direct control, you're not worried about their sanity. Instead, the enemy has a sanity meter. And that's actually, each unit has 2 attack stats. I'll use the Wraith here as an example, because attack is physical damage, or magic damage that affects health. Then there's dread. This is how they use stress attacks. The Wraith and the Banshee have high dread, because all of their attacks hit stress. Now, just like in Darkest Dungeon, when somebody gets overstressed, they have a chance to go insane. There's different ways to do it. One of the best ones in my book is the Betrayal, because it gives a 75% chance that the target that has this will decide, you know what, no, I want to hit one of my teammates now. And others will cause them to do more damage, but they lose like 40% of their health every turn. And then if somebody's stress is 0 and they take more stress damage, there is a chance that they will just have a heart attack, fall over dead, without you doing anything. You also have a talent tree. This is how Iratus directly affects battle. I like to go for the alchemy tree first, because I can do this. I can get this stuff. Transplantation is probably the best one, so I'm going to go ahead and get that.
Reveal their secrets.
Because you see, before these were locked. Now there are 4 tiers of stuff. There's common, uncommon, rare, and legendary. The stronger ones, like an uncommon, will have like +2 vigor or +2 attack to it, and it'll give that to the minion as you replace it. Legendary will get up to like three bonuses. That's why transplantation is such a good thing. This is your base. You also have talents, which I just showed you. That's what this is. Alchemy, if I wanted, I could actually just start building up better units. Like I could use 2 of the weapons here. And it's like the weapon tab, put 2 common weapons in there, and I get an uncommon out of it. And you can keep doing that. I've actually, in my other playthrough, I've actually had some soldiers with some troops with legendary stuff. You also saw the creation, which is where you make your minions. You have artifacts. These are passive buffs that Iratus gives with these. So killed in battle, all minions that took part in the battle are sort of 15% bigger. So we're gonna use Standard of Darkness.
Undead features.
We also have the Archmage's Robe. All enemies lose -1 ward at the beginning of each battle. That's a very good one.
Embellishes my undead features.
But let's go ahead and take a look at the skeleton, because I said ward and block. Now you have a couple of stats. Armor is just straight physical damage reduction. This stays permanently as long as the unit is alive. Same with resistance, except this does... Resistance is all about magical damage. Then you have block and ward. Block is a one-time use per tick of it, per use of it you have. You have 1 block. Even if something would do 600 damage on a single hit, block will say, no, unless it's a critical. Criticals ignore block and ward. Ward is the same thing, but with magical damage. Ward is a big one because that also affects because Iratus can actually have spells. You have magic, which is all about stress damage, and also a little bit of buffing. Ire is all about, it's a little bit more buffing really, and also building up things. And then destruction is just, hey, I want you to die. And if something has ward, it'll block some of your direct spells. Then we have the graveyard. This actually looks like something directly out of Heroes of Might and Magic. This looks like a necropolis town. You have the mortuary, excavations, Iratus statue, an arena, abode of rat, dead lake, obelisk, and library. Each one of these gives a different bonus. Like the mortuary, if something is injured, you put them in here, and they will fully heal by the next time you come through a battle, unless it's a quest battle. You can also expand this by sacrificing. Like I'd have to sacrifice a wraith and have architect's souls, which is how you build up your crypt or your graveyard. But let's go to the meat of the game, shall we? The vast riches buried underneath the castle, great veins of iron that promised to fuel conquest after conquest, along with ancient artifacts from a long-forgotten age. Dwarves were eager to offer their services in this project, bringing their untested mining equipment and experimental concoctions for the promise of wealth. They only needed bodies that could obey and that the humans could provide. Dungeons filled to the brim with both criminals and rebels. There was no shortage of slaves to work these mines. Drugs were used to keep them docile as they dug ever deeper year after year, unaware of the mortal danger that awaited them below. Which is where Iratus comes in. Let's just go ahead and get into a battle. Ooh. Got a couple of good choices after this that I'll show you guys, but let's get into this fight real quick. Now, in Darkest Dungeon, you have mutants that have the ability to move around. You kind of do in this too, but each of these... One of the things is, in Darkest Dungeon, everybody has 4 abilities they can use. You can swap them out freely in between fights. This, everybody's got 6 that they can use, depending on their position. So for example, we start with the Bride. We're going to go ahead and use Think of Him. This is a buff, gains +4 attack, +4 dread until the battle ends. Because she is legitimately in love with Iratus, which is kind of a weird thing. Hey, kitty. Alright. Now, the Skeleton. He can't use Show Them Their Place because he's not in the back too. The yellow skulls show you where you have to be to use this attack. The red helmets show you who you can hit with this. Now, Unassuming Strike is pretty good, but this is actually better. Smite, because it's 2 attacks, each one does half damage, whereas this is 1 attack that does 80 damage. I could do Embrace Mediocrity. This is a stress attack. Links with the target. Skeleton loses 30% of its health, not great. Target loses 30% of its sanity. 15% for bosses. I'm actually going to use Astounding Fortitude. Gains 6 armor, 6 resistance until next action. And it tends to be targeted more. It also goes into a stance. Stances are a special thing. Kind of like that. So if you can interrupt stances, but at the same time, stances usually give some buff. So, for example, if I wanted to, I could use Futile Hopes. The Dark Knight would go into his stance, and anytime somebody receives a buff, he does some stress damage to them. He can also do a stress attack, Hollow Stare. Dark Tide, if he had a debuff, I could use that, and I also gained some mana, but I don't need that. Instead, I'm just gonna hit him with a sword with Heartless Slash. Now you might notice there's not a lot of damage going on right now. We can fix that. Let's go ahead and buff our zombie. Our zombie. Our zombie now has double damage on his next on his next attack. I could do this, but that's not going to do any good. Let's go ahead and hit the bride. Take her shot. She does a lot of damage. She is our big damage dealer, really. 10, 20. Critical attacks from your guys will cause a lot of stress damage, whereas crits from them will heal stress. Also, I said there were 6 abilities, depending on your position. So like these 2 can only be used in the first 2, or those 3. More powder can be used anywhere. Bombardment, which is what I'm going to use next, is usable only in the back 2 lanes. Then Cannonball. This is the ultimate. This costs Wrath. You'll notice here in the center, I've got a blue sphere. This is the mana. That would be spells if I had any. I don't have any, though. Then the red circle around it is the Wrath meter. This builds up as you take damage and deal damage. You spend it to use your ultimate abilities. So I could use Cannonball. Deals double damage to somebody, knocks them back 2, and knocks the zombie back 1. Now, in Darkest Dungeon, you could actually move a lot easier. This is hard to move in to a degree. I'm gonna go ahead and use Bombardment. As long as he is in that stance at the start of his next turn, 4 random targets of the 3 here will end up being hit pretty hard. It does half damage, but
your frail bodies fail you.
There's a good chance. Ooh, actually, I'll show you guys. Because the bride's one of the brides is this Rose for the Lady. Auto crit hits everything.
More materials. Ooh, I didn't think it would be this easy.
I need to save up 60 wrath. Oh, he missed.
Blow them to pieces!
And that's why Bombardment is a great skill. You know what? Let's just go ahead and do this. Cannonball. And that actually moves the zombie back 1. And this is the reward screen. We gain 14 Architect Souls, a skull, flesh, heart, bones, and dust. I do need to heal my Dark Knight. Actually, no, he's okay. He's only missing 9 HP. So my plan for this is I'll go through a couple of missions on each one. We're gonna go to the grave, because the grave is a great way to get a free unit. So I could raise a wraith, a zombie, or a skeleton. Oh no, wraith. I like the wraiths in this game. But I haven't shown you guys the stress damage that you can do yet. So we're gonna swap the zombie out. And we're gonna go on to another battle. You can't go to you cannot click on an empty room. And yes, this is also early release, so the top 2, you can only go up to the mercenary barracks. You can't make it. You cannot go all the way up to the, I'm guessing that's the castle, or the town. But I want to show you guys the stress system. So I'm gonna work on this. Again, we're gonna have the bride think of him. Fortitude. They're gonna debuff my Dark Knight. Luckily, the Dark Knight is actually still pretty tanky. Here we go. Alright, Ghostly Fire. This also inflicts what's called Curse, which is just overtime stress damage. That's gonna knock my skeleton back. Alright. I gain 8 mana. Dark Knight moves back 1. Show them their place, my skeleton. You hurt my bride. Not a great idea. Ow. Yeah, see, crits actually go straight through block. And now, Unfeeling Aggression from the Dark Knight, which destroys their block, but puts him back in the spot I need him in. This is actually where I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite combos. First off, we're going to do Ghostly Flames again. So they're cursed. It's going to debuff my Dark Knight again for minus accuracy. Will you stop that? Alright. one of the bride's abilities, which will knock her back 1 spot, is Overwatch. Her stance. She just feels like that. Anytime somebody moves, anytime an enemy moves, she'll do damage. Let's do that, shall we? So he's gonna get moved. She's gonna hit him. And this is actually where we're getting into one of my favorite combos, except for the skeleton getting shit kicked out of him. Alright, Bride, go back into the stance. They are just beating the crap out of that skeleton. Ugh. Why are they so good at critting this guy? There's the block going on.
Oh, my darling, kill!
She got a crit, and there's the insanity trigger. Alright, so all remaining strength. He loses 40% of his max vigor every turn, but he also gets an extra action. This is where I get my favorite combo going. Terror Wave. This forces them all to move, and the bride, well, unless it misses, and the bride just gets a free shot on everybody. We're also going to do some more stress damage with Shield Banger, which drives another one of them insane, who is now Betrayal. So there's a 79% chance he just attacks. Yep. Which drives another one of them insane. So you can actually get some good insane chain combos going. Let's see. Okay. Do some stress damage to you. You have no stress left. So if I do any damage, any stress damage to him, he could just die outright. Well, I could have. The problem with the ghost, as you can see though, is the ghost does not do any physical damage. Oh, it's there. And there's the heart attack. Just instantly kills him. Critical debuff, that's not good.
Break their bones.
Break their wills is more important. Alright, and a rose for the lady.
Terror will overflow.
So they're both, one's hopeless, one is has weakness.
Brave are an excellent source of fresh.
He has 50% attack. He loses 50% attack, he has 0 luck. All armor and resistance is gone. He loses current stacks of block and ward. I could have... Let's go ahead and... Ghostly Wind. Or Necrotic Wind. The skeleton is actually going to survive this. No more stress. Let's see if I can get a heart attack going. Yep. And that's actually the stress system, basically in a nutshell.
My will is a tide.
Ooh, I got a Humanarium token. This is just backstory and info about your different characters. About your different enemies. Okay, and... Oh, good. My minion's all leveled up, except for the Wraith, because he wasn't in the first battle. So when you level up, you have a choice. You can upgrade one of your skills, except for the ultimate at first, one of 2 ways. So for example, with Chest Piercer, I could go Heart Piercer, which doesn't upgrade the damage, but it does upgrade the critical damage by 50%. Or I can go Lung Piercer, which makes it so that a crit will stun for 1 turn. Flames of Love we haven't seen yet because I don't get her up that far. Probably gonna... But you also get a special bonus. Like if I went with Heart Piercer, it'd get +10 accuracy, or she'd get +2 luck with Lung Piercer. I'm actually gonna go for the upgrade, one of the upgrades to think of him. I can either do Worship Him, or I gain 8 mana whenever she does that, or I can go Adore Him, which is +6 attack and dread until the battle ends. But she also gets +2 attack and +2 dread to start with.
Now, prove yourself worthy of my investment.
Also, I just noticed that the Wraith actually has a green rag, which is a good thing. Alright, for the skeleton, we're going to get him more armor and resistance.
Get back to battle.
And then the Dark Knight, we can do either upgrade the additional damage or the raw damage. And get +2 attack.
I expect results.
Okay, I'm actually gonna move the Wraith out. No, not the Dark Knight. That is one thing. The control scheme does need a little bit of work. It's sometimes a little weirdly responsive, and other times it's not responsive at all. Alright, let's get... I'll take Flaming Skull. And now we're gonna build... Ooh, that actually gets me a new unit that I've never actually gotten a chance to use before. A Lich. Powerful magical minion, but not really a true Lich. Pseudo-Lich is a barbarian design made by necromancer of old. Do not actually hold the soul of a necromancer. Carriers for devastating spells. Okay, so he needs a skull, bones, dust, and rags. Let's get him some, shall we? Bones.
Ah, the smell of successful alchemy.
Skull. Dust. Actually, you know what? Let's get a...
Behold my work. A skeleton will clean up this mess later.
Do I have enough skulls? Yes, I do. This is going to be expensive.
It's no gold, but it will do.
This is going to make that Lich quite powerful.
A skeleton will clean up
Okay,
this
so I
mess
can't
later.
get it fully, but... Good creation. And when you click fill, it will automatically fill in with the highest level.
I just can't tell where they get their uncaring attitude from.
Put him in the third slot. So he's got bone shards. He can use this from... Okay, he can use his abilities from anywhere, but he can use all of his abilities from basically anywhere. Dang, that's a good one. Like I said, never had a chance to use this guy before, so... Gonna go get some items. Also, you cannot go backwards. So, you get plus demonic essence, plus 5 evasion. I gain 3 mana whenever they do a crit, up to 3 times. Plus 2 initiative. When they debuff something, plus 2 dread for 2 turns, up to 3 times. And the misery cord. Figure less than or equal to 70%, plus 4.
Oh,
Take the misery cord.
Future kingdom.
No, these are special items. They go over here. But for example, if I wanted, I could give it. I'm gonna give the misery cord to the Dark Knight because he actually has the lowest attack, and he's a good damage dealer. Actually, he had the second lowest attack after the zombie, but meh. All right, we'll do one more run for now. Okay, do I want? That's an elite enemy. We'll go that way. Like I said, this will be the end of after this will be the end of the episode. Never gotten a chance to use a lift before. Oh, slave drivers or taskmasters. These guys are actually really good for me because I can just go into Overwatch because anytime he whips somebody, he moves back and whoever he whips moves to the front. Alright, let's try this. 100 attack damage to 100 magic damage to 1 random enemy. Selected ally gains plus 12 attack and plus 12 dread for 1 turn. Kill an ally, Legion ally. I'm not going to use sacrifice. Then there's traps. Traps are a special thing. We're going to go ahead and do that on the front rank. So that there is now, anytime somebody, oh, he's instantly insane, which means he's going to lose 40% of his vigor every turn. 40% of his maximum. But he also gets an extra bonus. He gets a bonus action. Which means my zombie might be in a bit of trouble. You know what, let's go ahead and use a spell. Taskmaster?
Have a warm end.
By the way, when the Taskmaster dies, everybody else can, everyone in his team gains 30 sanity, so. Oof, my zombie is inaccurate. That's not good. You moved. Also, yeah, the zombie has a pistol for some reason. Thank you for doing that. Unless he's in the back, in which case...
This will be your end.
Let's go ahead and rose for the lady.
With the rest.
Also, you can only do 1 spell per turn, I think. So I could actually Do that again. Bone shards. Yes, we're gonna set you on fire.
Death comes in loud.
Which drives him insane. He gets all remaining strength again, so he's actually gonna die. I can ignore the hunky at the front because whenever when his next turn comes up, he's dead. I could also use Abyssal Hunger, which I think I'm going to because it heals my Dark Knight. That's the Dark Knight's ultimate ability.
Vanishes from this
it does 12 damage to everybody and heals him for the amount done. What is with them getting all remaining strength right now? You're gonna burn to death.
Delivered.
Crit. That was easy enough. That went really well. Alright, before we end this, actually... Okay, good. The skeleton is back. Let's go ahead and buff up the zombie. Let's also get even more powder.
My enemies are in for a nasty surprise.
Remove the zombie. Put the zombie in there, actually, yeah. And now we're gonna build something, which means I need to figure out what I need. Let's go to the arena. So I need just a skeleton. Any skeleton will do. Which means I need a low level, which I cannot do actually because I'm missing. What am I missing? The bones. What can I build with a zombie? That's a bride. That's another skeleton. That's a Dark Knight. So the Dead Lake is a Banshee. The library is another Dark Knight. And the obelisk. Okay, so... Oh, it's the mortuary you build with a zombie. Never mind. You know what? I'm gonna build a Dark Knight. Just a single low level.
War needs its generals.
So let's actually get the Abode of Rat. Actually, no. Couldn't build a skeleton. Don't want to build a... Yeah, we'll get the library. And that's just real quick. You build one, you tell it to build and it builds.
To recover my powers. It's akin to trying to quell hunger with breadcrumbs.
But that is Iratus, Lord of the Dead. We'll be back with this some more next week. And you can tell he's a real friendly looking fella there, isn't he? If you enjoy, feel free to drop a like on the video. You can also comment down below if you have anything you'd like to say. If you want to keep up with me and never miss my current series, then consider joining the squadron by subscribing to the channel. It does help me out, and I really do appreciate it. As for that, squaddies, I have been D. There's a new King of the Dead in town, and he's not very happy with humanity. Until next time, good night, and good gaming.